Today, I'm talking to Dave. He's from California. He lived there and grew up there for the last 62 years. He moved to Idaho in 2023. I'm going to get to ask him some of the questions that you're wondering, including how he was received from native Idahoans.
What it's like to come to Idaho, number one, and then come to Idaho, number two, from California.
Right.
And there's a lot of disinformation that gets out. It gets out about what Californians are and how we've helped and hurt the state. And then a lot of information about the negativity around what Idaho is.
Yeah.
Now, as a lifelong Californian, 62 years.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, if you had been there for a little bit or what?
Born and raised in San Diego, moved up to Orange County.
Yeah.
Went to college in California and was able to make a pretty good living down there.
What college did you go to?
The Cal State University, Fullerton.
Oh, sweet, yeah. Cool.
And so I want to, from a real person point of view, clarify some of the things. And what I'd hoped to get here is exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Dave, we want you to be candid. We want you to be honest. We want you to be straightforward, which are all things I'm really good at.
Right, yeah. That's what made me think to ask you is like, I mean, if anyone's going to tell us like it is, it's Dave.
Yeah.
So,
So ask away. I'm ready to answer.
Cool, yeah. I've been an agent here for the last 7 years, and I'd love to use my local knowledge and expertise to help you make a plan to find the perfect home here in the Treasure Valley. If that's you and you're thinking of making that move, find my information down below, get a hold of me. I'd love to meet you and help you with your move to Idaho. One of the first things that I was really curious is to know, like, I mean, how long you lived in California, but like, what was your life like in California? Having seen the change over the last 62 years to what it is now, to the point where you ended up leaving, like,
well, like I said, I was born and raised in San Diego, and that's the best place in the world as a kid to grow up. You had a city that was Boise size at the time that I was there, and then it exploded and grew to the metropolis that it is today.
Yeah,
we lived there until I was probably 14 years old, and then we moved up to Orange County, and then I finished education up there and college up there, and went on out into the workforce. And was fairly successful.
Yeah.
And enjoyed the things and the accomplishments that come with working hard.
Yeah.
And working in California at the time. It truly was the Golden State. And what I would say to you and the people that are listening here is that I didn't leave California.
Yeah.
California left me.
Oh, yeah.
I was happy to be a part of the success of that state and to contribute.
What industries were you in?
I was a salesman.
Okay.
I mean, if you ask me to do anything more than screwing a light bulb, I'll screw it up. I really will. But and I sold everything. I sold oil and gas. I sold paint. I sold construction services. I sold janitorial services. I mean, I had a tremendous career. I found what I was good at, and I stayed with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And as I said, I had success with it. So, and maybe it was because of the state. Maybe it was because of me. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe the right time at the right place.
Right.
But I took advantage of it. I'm very fortunate.
So how difficult was it for you to like make that decision to come to Idaho when you came to it? And were there any specific things that made the choice especially hard?
By way of background, when I had hit the age of 62, 63, I had kind of had enough of being in charge, if you will. I didn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I had a pretty good retirement set up for my wife and I, and she wanted to continue to work, which I was completely fine with. So I stepped back and literally was a chauffeur for a gentleman for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was spectacular.
Yeah.
He was a tremendous gentleman, a very accomplished businessman. The company he represented was extremely successful. And I learned a lot just listening to his conversations in the car up and back, because he was the nerve brand of that company.
Yeah.
As I said, California left me.
Yeah.
I grew up in a city and a state that was conservative, Republican, and had tremendous values, both moral and financial.
Yeah.
As I got further and further into my work career, those lines blurred.
Yeah.
They became less and less distinctive and more variable.
Yeah.
And it was uncomfortable for me. So when I decided to move, it was simple. I cut ties, I pulled it up, I sold the house, I was done. A little bit more difficult for my wife because she had more friends and family down there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, did you receive any like backlash from like you said with your wife, friends and family? Like,
No. We had a granddaughter, excuse me, a granddaughter who had come up here to go to Boise State. And then her parents ultimately moved up here with my other two grandsons. So I had 3 kids in the area, and we came up for Thanksgiving a couple of times. And man, this was paradise. This was, the first things I noticed, which will make you guys laugh. Everybody put the shopping carts in the container at the grocery store. Now, I know you're thinking, that's stupid. That was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen, because in California, they're everywhere. They're in the parking lot, they're in the street, they're on the freeway. It was everywhere. Number 2, there was no graffiti. There was no trash.
Yeah, I hear that a lot from people. Like, they'll walk through, like, even your alleys in Boise are clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of all, and there was a significant absence of homeless people, too. And I attribute that a lot to the fact that it's cold here.
Yeah.
And you're gonna freeze.
Yeah.
You better figure it out.
Yeah. That's true.
The other, and I said, this is kind of like how California used to be. So it was kind of an eye opener, and the people were overall very friendly. And the financial climate here, the political climate, and the openness to being spiritual, whatever your spirituality is, was very, very welcoming. I did not want to feel guilty about being a spiritual man, or having beliefs in God and country and family.
Yeah.
These were the most eye-opening experience I had here. I went to the rodeo. Now, I've never ridden a horse in my life. As a matter of fact, I tried to ride a horse, but at 6'7", 300 pounds, they said, Mr. Flynn, you're too big. It's animal cruelty. Honest to God, that's what they said. Yeah. So, but I was fascinated by the whole thing. And more than the presentation of the events was the belief in God, the belief in country, and the universal approval of it.
Well, and it's just kind of taken, like, everyone just assumes, like, hey, what church do you go to? Like, that's kind of a pretty basic question you get asked. Like, what, I'm curious, just because, I mean, I'm a local, I really have not gone past the boundaries of Idaho too far. What kind of backlash or what kind of criticism would you get in California for
Jesus freaks?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't wear my religion on my chest.
Sure.
I don't wear hats or items that reveal it.
Right.
But I answer to somebody greater.
Yeah.
And my hope is that my deeds on this planet provide some mediation for the mistakes that I've made.
Right.
As I go forth, because I'm 68 now. I've, a better part of my life is over.
Yeah.
I want to try to. The other thing is I'm finding this place to be extremely open to you trying to make it better. Instead of changing everything and complaining about it.
Yeah.
It's not how we entered. We came in and we wanted to be a part of the solution.
Yeah.
We wanted to help.
Well, and honestly, even just, I don't think I said it yet, but Dave is a neighbor of mine. We're in the same HOA and everything. And that is the exact attitude that you've had, like in the HOA, when there has been weird things or maybe mismanagement or things like that. Like you and Sherry are like the first to sign up and be like, hey, I think we can do this. And like the whole landscape debacle and all that. So, yeah.
There's things that you get good at as you get older. Younger men like yourself, you're in the business of raising families, of accumulating your future.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that because that's where I was. But I have more time available. I get up at 8 o'clock now. By 8 o'clock in the morning, I was firing on all cylinders, you know, for 45 years.
Yeah.
I have a cup of coffee. I'm in my slippers, and you know, I kind of get to see what the day has to plan. This is all sort of new.
Rub it in. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. But and I understand that there are people that are not that fortunate. But again, I feel like I've kind of worked and put myself in that position, and my wife as well when she chooses to do that.
Yeah, the fruits of your labor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want my community, the city I live in, the state I live in, to be better.
Yeah.
I want the neighborhood that I live in to have good financial. Have my neighbors have confidence in the way their money's being managed. Have them drive in after a long day of work and go, oh, this is really beautiful.
Yeah.
This is an oasis.
Right.
I'm glad I live here.
Right.
I want them to have access to the amenities. And I want there to be common sense when mistakes are made.
Yeah.
You're not a criminal because you didn't do something. Things happen.
Right.
Mistakes occur. Let's all remember we got to live here and get along.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you don't follow the rules, but one time is a mistake.
Yeah.
2 times is a pattern. 3 times we're done.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Well, and I mean, you touched on like everything you described about California and how Boise is like what California used to be, like back when it was the Golden State. And I think just in my circles and locals, and I mean, you see it everywhere, but that's the big fear is like all these Californians moving in, making California what it is now versus what it used to be. But I feel like, I mean, most of the Californians that I run into and that I know personally, like you and people at church and everything, they have the same mindset. Like they moved here to enjoy what Idaho has and keep it that way, which granted, there are some that are still pretty liberal and they enjoyed what California was or whatever the reason they moved here, I don't know. But I feel like most people from California or other states are moving here with your same mindset. I mean, do you feel that way? Or
Well, keep me on that path because I may digress a little bit as we go, but bring me back. You know,
sure.
Give me a couple minutes and
the Trump weave, right?
And then bring me back. Yeah. Let me, I have a phrase that I use, and the phrase is there's always one idiot in every village.
Yes.
Okay. And there's always those Californians who are going to complain. They're going to complain because it snows. They're going to complain because you have stop signs. They're going to complain because it smells like sorghum some days from the plant,
right?
Over there. They're going to complain that there aren't enough grocery stores or hair salons or bars or things like that. Those are things we've become accustomed to.
Right.
And there's a reset that goes on when you come here. The expectation has to be, I'm going to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
And the solution is not to complain.
Yeah.
The solution is to be part of making it better.
Yeah.
Do I believe the infrastructure in Idaho, road rise, is terrible? I do. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And you want to put more homes in and take people in and out on one-lane roads to stop signs? Right. That's terrible. That's a bad idea.
What do you think of the roundabouts they're thrown in?
I don't really have an opinion on that. What I find utterly hilarious is watching people go straight into the roundabout, over the curb, and into the sign. And the one at our location, that has happened twice. Yeah. I don't understand how that can happen.
Yeah.
But one of the things
they're texting. That's how it happens.
Yeah. But one of the things I want to come back to on that is you want a specific kind of Californian, which is me. Because I want good schools. I want good roads.
Yeah.
I want strong police protection. I am astounded and moved by the celebration that comes about for Memorial Day, what we do for our veterans. It brings a tear to my eye that this state could have that kind of respect.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that. And I would tell you, I thought about this quite a bit. Aren't a lot of Californians that drive Subarus. Subaru is not your magic vehicle in Orange County and LA and San Diego.
Yeah.
Those people are coming from 2 other states.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming from 2 other places.
Yep.
And they're moving this way. Don't blame this all on the Californians.
Yeah. Well,
you want my kind of Californian here.
Absolutely. Well, and there's this, I don't know how popular it is anymore, but at least a few years ago, it was like I was started seeing the Keep Boise Weird stickers. And it's like, no, like I don't know if this was a counter like sticker or whatever it was, but then you started seeing a few others that were like Keep Boise Kind, which growing up, I mean, that's what I've always noticed, or when I visit other cities or anything like that, it's like there's no kindness, or very little at least. Whereas here in Idaho and Boise and like Nampa and all that stuff, like you said, they're going to go put the carts back because everyone thinks that like, well, someone's got to gather these and put them back at some point, and I might as well just do it and make their job easier. At least that's always my thought.
When I moved into the neighborhood, I made it a point to meet my neighbors, and a couple of them were elderly. So when they would bring their trash cans down, I would bring them up. When it snowed, I shoveled their driveways.
Which I can vouch. I've seen you out there.
Yeah, that's a party.
Yeah.
I've never shoveled snow before.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for me, it was kind of an experience.
Right, yeah. How was your first snowfall here? What was your expectations versus reality?
I had no expectations, and I had never done it before. I was sitting in my living room, and I looked outside, and there were snowflakes coming down, and the snow was just piling up. And my friend actually gave me a snow shovel as a housewarming gift. And I had never used one before, and I had never seen one before. And I go, what the hell am I going to do with this?
Where's it plug in? Where does it
plug in? He said, you're gonna see it. Now I get it. And I got one of those big plastic push things now.
Oh yeah. Those Lifetime shovels are amazing. Yeah. Like, they're phenomenal.
The people that are my neighbors in general are my friends. I want to help them. When we had Snowmageddon and the postman didn't come, I knew there were people that weren't going to be able to get out.
Yeah.
So I got letters from them, went up to the post office, got their mail, put it in an envelope, had the post office seal it, and delivered their mail to them, because I want to be a good guy. And Cameron, let me tell both you guys, I lived across from a guy who was not a good person. And ultimately what I found was bad people get what's coming to them. And they disappear.
Yeah.
And ultimately that's what we all want. We want to be in a good place with other good people doing good things.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. With, like, I guess, is there anything that you feel like that you miss about California that's like...
the sunshine.
Yeah.
I miss, right now it's 70 degrees. I would normally be wearing a pair of shorts outside in the backyard, I miss having a dearth of restaurants that I knew a lot about, that I could go and choose what I wanted, at any particular day, time, or night. I lived in Orange County. I miss taking little vacations to San Diego. My wife and I would drive down. We would, it was 90 miles away. It was a 3-hour drive. And we would spend 3 or 4 days in San Diego or 3 or 4 days in San Francisco, or excuse me, not San Francisco, Santa Barbara, and just enjoy.
Santa Barbara's beautiful.
I miss those things, but I can still go there.
Right.
There's an airport here. It's a little bit more
we do
expensive.
Have one of those,
yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, but I can still go. So those are the things that I miss. I don't miss the traffic. I don't miss the overpopulation of homelessness. I don't miss the graffiti. I don't miss the trash. I don't miss the nasty people that I had to deal with. And not all Californians are nasty, but there's a lot of them there. And more than that, I have to tell you, I don't miss being the guy who is held accountable for all the state's evils. I was the guy who was paying my bills and my taxes and everything. Somewhere along the lines got skewed, and I became accountable for all that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay for it anymore.
Yeah. Well, and on that note of like coming from California and being accountable, because I mean now on the flip side of the spectrum, like Idahoans are holding you accountable for like all the problems Idaho experiences. Like our roads are horrible due to largely to the fact that there's a ton of people moving here. But I always thought that was crazy because it's like they're moving here because it's a great place to live. Like there's natural growing pains you're going to encounter. But so like, what has your experience been? Because for me, I mean, it's almost like a weird kind of like almost like racism, but like not like statism, or I don't know what you would call that. But like, what's been your experience with that?
First thing I do, I kept my phone number, which is 714, which is Southern California.
Yeah.
The first thing I do is when I'm checking into the doctors or something like that, is I want you to know I'm one of the people that moved up here, but I don't want to change anything.
Do you feel like you have to?
No, I just do it to kind of break the ice.
Okay.
And I've had a couple people be a little cold to me.
Really?
But you know what I found is, more than not, people said, I moved up here 18 years ago. I moved up here 10 years ago. Or I moved up here 5 years ago and really love it. So all I'm doing is maybe just following a trend here.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't live in a vacuum.
You can't.
There's one point I want to make, and the only research I did was President Trump carried the state of Idaho with 69% of the vote, 69 point something percent of the vote back in 2020. He carried the state of Idaho again with all the influx of the Californians, all the influx of everybody else.
Portland, Seattle.
Portland and Seattle. I didn't say it, you did. I would not dispute it.
We need to call those guys out.
Yeah. With the same percentages. No, what does that tell you?
The right people are moving here.
Well, it's certainly an indication that there are people that are moving here to escape tyranny, to escape the negativity, and that something here in Idaho, in spite of the bad infrastructure, in spite of the smell from the Simplot plant, in spite of these things that did home prices go up? Yeah, but they've kind of leveled out, haven't they? They've actually gone down.
For the last 2 years, there's been a little bit of an ebb and flow, but if you look at the chart, it's pretty much staying level for the last 2 years.
And again, we're not. I'll give you an example, if I might. The ambulance levy in the city of Nampa failed, as did the attempt by the city of Nampa to put property taxes, put a $50 a year levy so that they could fix the mess that is 11th Street going north, where you have to take a stoplight, make a left on, I don't know what the heck the other street is.
Right, 7th or something.
I'm sorry, 12th to 7th to 11th.
Yeah.
People didn't vote for it.
Really convoluted way to get out.
It's an absolute mess. And that downtown area is beautiful. It is going to get better because they have a vision for it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about it.
Well, and even just the last couple of years, downtown Nampa, Caldwell even, like these areas are getting nicer because I feel like they realize that there's enough people that they need to.
Look at Meridian.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a classic. Look at Star. They're going to put 4,800 homes in Star over the next 10 years.
Isn't that wild?
And they got one road in and one road out.
They got to figure something out.
Well, how's that going to work?
Yeah.
They're going to put 200 homes and 139.
Well, have you seen the plan for Highway 16?
Oh,
all that? Yeah.
it's inadequate.
Yeah.
It's inadequate already. And I get it. It costs money to do those things. But let's project a little bit. And I think part of the issue is they're just, they're a little bit behind, and it's hard to catch up.
Yeah. You're right. Well, and that's my thought is that we're going to experience some growing pains, and honestly, anything that's amazing, it has to increase in value. Like, if you think about Boise or Idaho, like a product, like if there's a lot of people that want it, then it's going to be more expensive, and that's no one's fault. It's a really cool place to live. So, like, if anything, it's the native Idahoans' fault for making it so awesome here.
Well, they did their best to keep it. Don't tell anybody.
Right. Yeah.
The thing that amazes me the most, still to this day, is, as you know, we live, where we live in the main street that goes to Lake Lowell.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, these people get out of work, they throw off their shirts and shoes, they grab their boats and pontoons and canoes and jet skis. They load the kids up in the truck, and they are on that lake. They get out at 5. They are on that lake by 6:15, and they are going till 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still sunny outside.
Yeah.
And I find that amazing. I don't have any of those toys.
Right.
But I go down there, and I kind of watch. I like to let the breeze come through and see everybody having a good time, and the camaraderie between these people, wherever they're from, is truly America. It's truly America.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I always tell people I'll probably never leave Idaho, because where else would I go that can offer this and this kind of community and all that? I do love it here.
Yeah.
So not too much backlash then, not too much like hate from native Idahoans or.
I have not.
That's good.
Now, excuse me. I would tell you that I have gone. Also, my wife and I have gone out of the way to be
considerate,
good visitors and stewards of this state, and we have every intention of continuing to do that. We have no intention of stopping.
Yeah.
If I had a complaint, it was, my biggest complaint is when you fly somewhere from Idaho, from Boise, you don't go directly anywhere. You go to Seattle and you get off, and then you go somewhere else.
And then you get
it's 2 steps.
Oh yeah.
And it's I'm glad I'm not stationed in Idaho and having to work in LA or Orange County or some of these other places, because it would be a lot more travel.
If you were still working, do you think that would have impacted your decision to come here? Or would you have looked somewhere else?
I would have stayed probably in Southern California.
Okay.
Because the majority of what I knew, the customers I had, the business that I had, was in Southern California.
Well, and that's actually one of the things I meant to ask you earlier on is what was the tipping point, or was there one moment specifically that's like, we got to get out of here, like we can't keep doing this? Or
I can tell you exactly what it was when it formed in my head, and I don't know the exact dates here, but
right.
For your people in the audience, there was a time where as you were going north on the 57 freeway, which is a main artery out of Orange County.
Okay.
On the south side of the 57 freeway is the arena where the Ducks play hockey. I don't know what they call it, Anaheim Arena or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's a Disneyland name. On the other side, the east side, is Angel Stadium. And a small little homeless encampment started on the bike trail just outside the fence line for Anaheim Stadium.
Was this 2020?
It very well could have been.
Okay.
And it started as 50 people. Then the city said, well, we're going to take care of this. We're going to make it, so it's livable. Then it was 100. Then it was 150. Then it was 200. And it was the biggest menagerie of junk and filth you have ever seen in your life. And the fact that they would allow this to be the symbol of Anaheim was appalling to me. peoples that lived in apartments and condos up against this area, all of a sudden bikes started to disappear. All of a sudden cars started to get broken into. All of a sudden plants in the backyard were disappearing. They were finding needles and human waste and trash and,
Gosh.
this. And my comment on that is, you've just made it easier for more people to come. And what didn't get advertised was the aftermath of that, where the city had to clear off about 5 inches of topsoil that was completely contaminated. They found, from all these homeless people living there, they found over 1,500 empty syringes there.
Oh my gosh.
There was medical waste. There were bicycle parts. They recovered 100 or so bikes that had been stolen. And people, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying here that all homeless people are bad.
Right.
But I'm saying the majority of these people that were there, of the 200 or so tents that were set up housing 2, 4, 5, 8 people, were not good people.
Yeah.
And it's clearly evident by the money that had to be spent to fix it. You know what they did to prevent it? They put giant boulders down there so that they can't camp there in the future.
Wow.
And when I saw that, and I'm hustling my butt to work,
Yeah.
and I'm on the freeway, and I'm fighting the traffic, and I'm on the phone, and I'm, I'm not paying for that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
And that's the crazy thing is when you look around, and I've only just recently, I'm at a point in my life where I'm starting to view things and like see community projects, but like that's something that I'm paying for. Like I'm paying for a portion of that. And for some reason, I don't know, I just never really thought about it like that until like the last 4 or 5 years or so. But yeah, you start seeing things like that and like, wait a second, why are we doing that? Like, I don't want to pay for that. It's crazy.
Well, you have and you know what happens is that you get a family. You buy a house.
Yeah.
You have a mortgage. You have car payments.
Yeah.
You pay for internet.
Well, and that's true. Like, yeah, if money's tight and like we got to shut off the cable to make ends meet, then let's do that. But if we know that, I mean, a lot of my money's going to take care of this homeless situation that honestly, it sounds like the money could have been spent in other ways to maybe help those people instead of cleaning up their mess.
There's no way to help those people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my personal opinion on it. I don't want to spend the rest of this time debating or lecturing your people on how I would handle it, but it's something that has to be made aware of, and I've seen it here.
Yeah.
And I was amazed when I moved here. The thing that amazes me the most about the city of Boise and the whole area around here, the river.
Yeah.
The river right through the middle of town. You can take a fishing rod, park at Boise Stadium, go over the fence and go fishing, fly fishing right there.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
I did it because I saw it on TV once. I got to do this.
Yeah.
This was amazing.
Right.
I almost killed myself, but nonetheless, I was there.
How did you kill yourself fly fishing?
Why? Because there's rocks over there, and I'm old and bald and fat. Okay, that's why. I mean, when you're old, bald, and fat, stuff happens. Okay.
Extreme sports, fly fishing.
And then I started noticing that there's people living in there, which is the exact problem they had in San Diego, and they had to clear that whole area out. You know, that's a wildlife refuge there. That's an area where we all go to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
We're housing a whole group of people that are there illegally, ruining that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Leaving trash everywhere, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of inertia to resolve that situation. And I attribute that to, and that's why I am happy I do not live in the city of Boise. I live in the city of Nampa.
Oh yeah,
where that is not tolerated.
Right. Well, did you see the election results? And that's something too that we're seeing. We're seeing this slow, because I always refer to it as like from California 60 years ago to now. It probably wasn't like all of a sudden it became this woke culture, but it was a very slow fade. Like, okay, now we're going to allow this, and now we're going to allow this, and it just keeps getting further on down the line. And I feel like we're starting to see that in Boise particularly, where in the election, Ada County, I could be off on the numbers, but I believe it was 43% blue and 53% red.
Right.
So, I mean, very close to being a 50-50 like toss-up county for Idaho, which is just absurd. Whereas Canyon County, just 20 minutes west, is 76% red. And
I think if you go and look at the map, which since you're talking about woke, and I'll just make my political comment on the election here.
yeah.
You know, liberalism dies in Idaho. And that's part of the reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
I don't tolerate it. But you look at the map where it is now, it's coastal.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very much a coastal belief.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of America has decided we're done with it.
Oh, yeah.
And it really only took 3.5 years.
That's true. Yeah, we're everyone's fed up.
And ask yourself, they're still trying to figure out where 20 million votes went.
Yeah.
You know, the line for the population is relatively stable, except for 2020, where all of a sudden 20 million more votes came in. Well,
I know. And
where'd they go?
And you love that no one's like, it's not, they don't feel like that's a discrepancy that needs to be reported on, of course.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, I mean, what would you say to like the family that's on the fence of saying like, man, we see what's happening in California. We don't love the politics, but we do love the lifestyle we have here. Because, I mean, yeah, the beach, the sunshine, like all that stuff. Like, I mean, for someone who's trying to like make the decision and is it worth it kind of thing, like how would you address those folks?
There's positives and negatives.
Yeah.
We have beaches here, except they're in front of lakes.
Yeah.
That's really the difference.
Maybe a little bit more rocky than sandy.
A little bit more rocky, and be careful of the rocks if you're old, bald, and fat, because you're going to fall over. You know? We have restaurants here in Idaho, some wonderful ones. We have good drivers and bad drivers. You have to make a trade-off. You know, the first thing I noticed when I came to Idaho was my property taxes were about a third of what they were in California. My natural gas bill was about an eighth of what it was in California.
That is insane.
It's completely insane.
Yeah.
My electric bill was about a sixth, and I'm and folks, it gets hot out here in the summer.
Yeah.
Between the hours of about 2 and 5, you really don't want to be outside.
Right.
It gets pretty hot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
After that, everybody comes out. You know,
which is crazy because I'm seeing like for the last 15 years that I've been paying my own bills and whatnot. It's like it's crazy to me because I'm seeing prices get higher and higher and higher, and I'm like, man, this is a lot. But yeah, from your perspective, like from coming from California, that's crazy.
Well, and I think groceries about the same, and I think gas is less expensive. So there's a plus side to it. I think there's a plus, and you have to weigh it out. There's a plus side to the environment and to the political environment too.
Yeah.
You have to decide what kind of an influence you want your kids to have, in particular, because a lot of people that move up here have families. I know people that have moved up here and said we don't like it. People were very unfriendly and don't get along with us. Don't get along with us. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You're not going to dictate to people how they're going to act. They are who they are.
Yeah.
You have to blend.
Yeah.
You have to decide you want to be part of the solution, right?
Yeah. You work well with people or you don't.
And they moved back. Great. I'm sorry to see you go. Boy, that's just too bad. But that has to happen.
Right.
That has to. Those things are going to occur.
Yeah.
From me, it's what kind of quality of life do you want? What is your desire for your children to have, and you and your children to have the blessings of America, which are on display here in Idaho every single day.
Yeah.
And what are you willing to sacrifice? Yeah, winters are cold. Folks, today it's 41 outside and it's raining.
Not a pleasant day outside.
It's not a pleasant day. But other than the rain, right about this time of year, it's about 41 degrees. That's what you're going to have to expect.
Yeah, well, you're wearing that political hat on, right? The American flag. That's pretty controversial these days.
Not for me.
Not in Idaho.
No, not for me.
Yeah.
It never is.
Right.
I still wear my Let's Go Brandon shirt when I get on a plane. And I want
great.
them to debate me because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I'm not gonna back down. I wear my Trump hat.
Yeah.
Still, and it's just, you come out here, you move here, go to a rodeo.
Yeah.
You will realize exactly what you have missed.
Yeah.
It's an amazing place to live. There are things that have to improve, but it is an amazing place to live with great people who, if you make the extra effort to get along with them, you will find friendships that will last you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's awesome. I mean, I think I know the answer to this one, but looking back on your decision to move here and to kind of start fresh and start this new season of life and retirement and everything, is there anything that you regret or that you would have done differently, like knowing what you know now? I mean,
there are. I'm sorry. I was thinking, and there are maybe a couple things. Moving, period, is a pain.
yeah,
Moving out of state is a bigger pain.
yeah,
And I suggest when you move, you don't move in like January, February, March up here to Idaho because it's a tough weather environment then.
it's cold.
It's cold. Yeah.
It's very cold.
We decided to move in April, May, and June, and it was a heck of a lot nicer and a lot easier.
Yeah.
Moving is a pain, and we were retiring, and my wife actually had retired, and on the way up to Idaho, her company called her and said, "Listen, our representative here in Idaho just resigned. Would you like to have the job?" And she said, "Yeah."
Sweet.
Yeah. So it was perfect for her. She continues to work, and I'm the house husband. If you
Yeah.
will. And I'm awesome with laundry too. So,
Very good.
but I don't ever want to move again because
Yeah.
you're unpacking 25 years of stuff in a house.
Oh yeah, and it accumulates. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! We had 4 garage sales. We were giving stuff away.
Yeah.
And it was still a mess.
Yeah.
I miss the beach.
Oh.
I miss the weather, but I don't miss what I left because I can still read about the problems every day, and the problems haven't changed.
Yeah.
They're getting worse.
Well, and I mean, that's something too that I guess I never thought about is like you can go visit the beach for a weekend,
Yeah.
or a week even, and not have to experience like all of the day-to-day issues of living in it. But I mean, and so you can kind of have your cake and eat it too in a way.
My first August here, it was 108, 4 days in a row. That second day,
Yep.
I got on a plane with my wife and we went down to San Diego. And we spent 3 days down there until it went down to 100. I wasn't going to deal with it. I just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, we just stayed in the pool the whole time. Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah. Yeah. One question I wanted to ask too, I just thought of is, how did you decide what part of the valley to move to? Because I mean, everyone always just thinks of Boise, but like we talked about earlier, like obviously there's a huge difference and contrast between Boise proper and outlying towns.
That's a great question. So our first set of grandkids that moved up here bought a house in Eagle.
Okay.
And we found several
town.
homes in Eagle that we really, really liked. What we didn't like about Eagle was that, excuse me, it struck us as a kingdom on a mountain. There's one road in and there's one road out,
Yeah.
And literally you can have to chain up to go on that road if the weather's bad,
Yeah.
We wanted something with a little bit more urban feel to it.
Yeah.
We looked in Cuna. We looked in Star. We found 2 homes that we just adored in Star. But as I said before, there's one lane in and one lane out.
Yeah.
That's all there is. And it's going to be that way for many, many years. And you're going to put 4,800 homes in there?
Yeah.
That's not a logical plan. So that we kind of nixed.
Yeah.
And then when we came down to Nampa and started looking around and ultimately found where we settled, we were very happy. I did not want a 2-story home.
Yeah.
my wife decided that would be what she wanted. And at this stage in my life, I write checks. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I want. This is where I want to live.
Yeah.
We're in a cul-de-sac. These seems like they're brand new homes. And we were very fortunate to find what we did.
Yeah.
Now, we, like a lot of people, when we bought a new home, we've lost money based on Redfin and Zillow, you know, since we bought it. But this is a place we're going to live for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you're not selling, what does it matter? Yeah.
And I have compassion for those people who bought on a speculation and are losing money. But that's why they call it speculation. There's no guarantee.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the videos I'm going to be doing soon is talking about how your personal residence is not an investment. It's actually a liability.
Yeah.
The rental properties and anything you don't live in, that's the investment. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I still own a rental property in California. And I would,
have you collected rent at all in the last 3 years?
Yeah,
That's good.
I actually have.
That's
And
good.
the only reason why I rented is that, you know, I made a handshake deal with these people. This will surprise you. And they, you know, you're in that $80,000 a year range in Southern California. You're renting. You don't own anything. You're renting.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to rent. You need about $180,000 a year to buy a house, especially right now with interest rates and the way prices are.
Oh, it's worse now for sure. Yeah.
And my deal with them is that so long as I get my rent when it's due, I will hold on to this property for as long as you want to stay. And I said, you know, I have to increase it every year because my property taxes go up 2% every year, and finding insurance in California is not an easy thing to do right now.
Yeah.
But so long as I can continue to do that and I'm in fairly good health, my handshake is you can stay here.
Yeah.
And that was their big fear. And you know, and they've done great. And, but, you know,
Yeah.
not many things are done with a handshake today.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's tough to make those deals.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you try to be a man of your word and get along with everybody.
Cool.
So.
It's really good to talk to someone who's lived through it, and because I mean, I'm just with my native Idahoan perspective. I don't have these conversations every day, and not a lot of people are willing to talk about it because it's especially obviously in town and stuff. There's just a lot of misconceptions, like you said early on.
Look, I'm one of hundreds of thousands that have moved here.
Yeah.
And one of hundreds of thousands of more that are going to move here. And new people with new ideas, some of them good, some of them not so good, is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because progress has to happen.
Yeah.
And I believe that progress properly regulated, properly controlled, properly pushed forward is a really, really good thing.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative you guys would ask for my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you get a bunch of kickback for some of the things I said, but I believe in these things, and this is the way I've lived my life. So.
Yeah. No, we agree. Yeah. So let them kick if they want to.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Cool.
But I enjoyed it. Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.